Good morning, good Monday morning, and welcome to the final Monday and my final weekly reading for 2022. Monday, December the 26th. So, how's everyone doing? Everybody filled with Christmas cheer and filled with lots of food, eating leftovers today, reminiscing about everything that happened over the last week? Let's hope so. It's a little bit chilly where I am right now, and if I do sniffle at you a little bit this week, I apologize. I am recovering from a cold, and I still have a little bit of the sniffles, and my voice is still a little scratchy, so apologies, but I think I'm definitely on the tail end of this and on the healing side of it. All right, let's get started. So for those of you who are new here, I come on every Monday and I do a weekly overview of both dominant energies as well as shadow energies that may be influencing you in the coming 6 to 7 days. I will present 3 trinkets, stones, gems. I ask you to go into a light meditative state and select the rock, gem, trinket, whichever one you are intuitively drawn towards. And then I do 3 separate readings. I will put timestamps in the description. And I do encourage you to watch more than one. Quite often I hear from the viewers that they're initially drawn to one rock or gem, but there's another one they're thinking about. So feel free to watch more than one and you'll find that it will resonate with you. Okay. All right. As always, to get started, I always light a white candle. All right. And I call in some energies. I call in the Creator, the Divine One. I call in Mother Earth, the energies of the ancestors, the animals, and the angels. I ask that you help me and assist me in these readings today. Guide me for the highest good of all of those who watch this video. Okay. And I like to just I have already cleansed and cleared the cards, but I like to do one more quick cleansing with some sage. And I do this for 2 reasons. One is the smoke is clearing. It also has been shown to have some antibacterial and antimicrobial properties, but the smell of sage helps me to get into almost a trance-like state, and it's from this state that I do my readings and connect with the guides that help me. So close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. Inhale and exhale slowly and relax. And do this 2 more times. Inhale, exhale, and relax. And third one, inhale. And as you exhale, open your eyes. And I'm going to present the 3 rocks, gems, or trinkets. So today, the first one is a green and purple fluorite point. Okay. The second one is a piece of sea glass that I found on the beach a little while ago that I was just attracted to. So the green sea glass. And the third one is a piece of polished black onyx. Okay. So make your choice. If you are attracted intuitively to the green and purple fluorite point, I'll be pulling cards for you from deck number 1. If you are intuitively drawn towards the piece of sea glass, I'll be pulling cards from deck number 2 for you. And if you are intuitively attracted to the piece of black onyx, I'll be pulling cards for you from deck number 3. Let's get started. Those of you who selected the fluorite point, I'll be pulling cards for you today from the Angels and Ancestors deck. Okay. Well, we have a card that just decided to flip right over, so let's get started. All right. The dominant energy this week for those of you who selected the green and purple fluorite point is the medicine guardian. Be open to healing information. So 2 things come up for this card. One is that this week, between Christmas and New Year's, pay attention to your health. Pay attention to that which you are putting into your body. Pay attention to all of the aspects of your health. Just a reminder and a disclaimer, I am not a medical doctor. This is a general reading. Anything that may be construed as advice, please take it with a grain of salt. You have free will. Make your own choices and decisions. What I am saying is that what this card is telling me is for those of you that selected the fluorite point, paying attention to your health this week is really, really important. Getting out, getting some exercise. I do know that those people that live in North America, in both Canada and the United States, as well as the northern parts of Mexico, received a significant amount of snow over the last 4 or 5 days. And I am hearing in the news that people are overexerting themselves, people are injuring themselves as they're trying to clear the snow. This is the type of thing that this card is giving you the heads up to. That's not to say don't go and get any exercise. What it is saying is pay attention to what you are doing to your body, okay? Pay attention to the signs that your body's giving you. When you are tired, rest. For many people this week, they have time off work, or they're only working 1 or 2 days instead of their typical 5 days, whatever the case may be. This card is giving you a sign that, and giving you permission to maybe slow down a little bit, but also pay attention to how much food you're consuming this week, as well as the types of food you're consuming. That is part of paying attention to your health. Okay. This is also saying be open to healing information. Okay. So at this time of the year, many people decide, I'm going to make New Year's resolutions and I'm going to make drastic changes to my life. That's fine. That's all well and good. And we know that, what is it? Something like 90% of all New Year's resolutions fail. Why do they fail? Well, part of the reason they fail is because people fall back into old habits. There's a saying that you have to do something for 30 days consistently before it becomes a habit. So the other thing is that if we're trying to start a new habit that's not in alignment with our own values and our own wants, there's way too much information coming in way too quickly for me to get it out of my mouth. These are the limitations of language, spoken language. Okay. The messages that are coming in are such that if your intention is to start a New Year's resolution, sometime in the next week or 10 days. Make sure that it's in alignment with your values and your expectations, not that of society, not that of your teachers, not that of your peers, not that of your parents. It needs to be in alignment with what you want. Because if it's not, then you're destined to head towards failure. Okay? Being open to healing information is also telling me that for those of you that have this card this week and this guiding energy this week, is that perhaps some of what you've tried in the past hasn't worked with regards to your health. So this is saying, seek out alternatives, do some research, start reading some papers. You know, in the past, we have always expected our doctors to be kind of like esteemed leaders. Doctors are very well educated. They go to school for a really long time to do what they do. But once they've done that, how many of your doctors are still out there reading new medical papers? I can tell you right now, not many of your doctors are. Many of your doctors are so busy with their practice, and their education is 10 years, 12 years, 15 years old. Some doctors have been in practice 25 years. And they're still practicing what they were taught in medical school 25 years ago. Is there anything wrong with you doing your own research and reading a medical paper on your own to determine what resonates with you with regards to your health? Do you see what I'm saying here? This is not by any means guidance or advice on how to treat your body, other than to treat your body with respect, but treat it with the intuition and guidance that you have built in. And remember that you are in charge of your body. And so that doesn't mean that you cannot read a medical paper and follow your own intuitive guidance as to what is right for your health. Okay, that's the messages that are coming up. Like this card is really, really loaded this week, but the main message is pay attention to your health this week. If you're tired, rest. If you're full, stop eating. If you're hungry, eat something. If you are being called to exercise this week, then go exercise, but listen to your body while you're doing that exercise. And if your body is saying that's far enough, then listen to your body. If your body is saying, oh, I could do with some more of that, then do some more, right? Get in touch with your own intuition when it comes to your health. It's really important, okay? Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck and see what the shadow energy is this week. Your shadow energy is the Sage. Be devoted and committed. Okay. So when a card comes up in the shadow area, it has like a hidden bubbling below the surface, potentially not always the meaning on the card. So it kind of means like the opposite, right? Because this is your shadow. So what this is telling me is that with this card coming up, if your intention is to pay attention to your health, to make healthful choices, to potentially do some New Year's resolutions that directly impact your health, this is telling me that you might not be as devoted as you think you are. This is what's coming up in the shadow position. This is telling me the opposite is true because it's in the shadow. So be devoted and committed. This is telling me that you might not be as dedicated as you think you are to the choices that you've made. Okay. Now, that's not saying that you shouldn't carry on and try to implement your new routines, especially if they're going to improve your health. But this card is telling me that you need to really, really carve out that time and be really dedicated to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. As I mentioned in the first part of this, in order to make something a habit, you need to do it for 30 days consistently. And you can't just slough it off and say, I'll do it tomorrow. You can't do that. Okay. You have to do it for the 30 days. And this card is telling me that that's going to be a little bit of a struggle for you. It's not saying it's impossible by any means, because ultimately, in order to become the sage, you have to be devoted and committed. Okay. But if this is a shadow, it means that devotion and commitment requires that extra little push from you each day. You know what? We all carry these around with us all day, every day. What does this have in it? It's got a calendar. What can you put in your calendar? You can put in a reminder every single day at the exact same time to remind you to do whatever that thing was, whether it's meditation, whether it's practicing yoga, whether it's going for a walk, whatever the case may be. Put the calendar reminder in. And just a little secret, you know, there's a setting in one of those. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know you guys know this. Set the reminder to go off every 5 minutes for like, I don't know, an hour, to make sure that you do what you've committed to yourself to do. And you know what? Once you've done it for 10 or 15 days, you can probably reduce the reminder because your body's going to start going, oh yeah, now's the time I'm going to do that. Okay. All right. For those of you that selected the Florite point, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity this week. I do wish you all the best of luck. I do really sense that for those of you that selected the Florite point, you're definitely looking at making some changes going into 2023, specifically related to your health. And you know what? You can do it. You can do it, but it's going to require some commitment on your part and some calendar reminders. Okay. Those of you that selected this piece of green sea glass, I'll be pulling cards for you today from the Osho Zen Tarot. Let's get started. All right. Well, how many cards do we have that have come out here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 cards that have come out. I'm not reading 6 cards, but what I am going to do is take those 6 cards and shuffle those 6 for the dominant energy for those that selected the sea glass this week. Which is the dominant energy for those that selected the sea glass this week? Okay, we've got a card here. It definitely does not want to go back into the deck. You got the Thunderbolt. Okay, this card has been coming up a lot in the last month, in the month of December. This card represents the tower in the traditional tarot. A lot of people are going, ah, the tower. Actually, this is a good card. Okay. This card represents change, big change, really big change. It can, for some people, represent unexpected change. But for those of you who selected this and are watching this, guess what? Forewarned is forearmed, as I always say. Okay. If you know that there is big change coming, then you have the opportunity to prepare. Now, that might not mean prepping and digging a hole in your backyard and putting a container in that's going to act as a bomb shelter, okay? That's not the kind of prepping I'm talking about. But I am talking about preparing mentally and psychologically for change. If you know that things at the end of 2023 are not going to look like they do today at the end of 2022. If you understand that there are going to be significant changes and shifts in the way that things are done, then you have the opportunity to kind of set that in the back of your mind so that it may still be a little bit of a, oh, didn't see that coming, and yet you did. Okay. I can't tell you, as this is a general reading, I can't tell you specifically what the change is that's going to be coming that this card represents, but I can tell you that over the next 6 to 7 days, watch for some significant changes. Now, like I said, the majority of changes when this card comes up are for the positive, although for people who are uncomfortable with change, the change can initially seem like a disaster. It can initially seem like, you know, the house is on fire and you need to jump out of the windows, which is kind of what is represented not only on this card, but also on the traditional Tower card in the traditional tarot deck. I'm just going to grab my handy dandy favorite book here. Okay. In the traditional, I don't know if that's coming into focus. Let me peek around the corner here. But in the traditional tarot, you can see here people are jumping out of the tower as it's kind of blowing up. But the reality is that this is actually a good thing, because you'll notice on this card that there is sort of a shadowy figure of a person sitting calmly while everything is going on around them. They're sitting in the lotus position in a meditative state, and they're just allowing the change to happen. They're allowing the lightning bolts to come in. They're allowing the thunder to crash around them, and they are sitting in that calm state, waiting for the storm to pass so that they can then embrace the new change. That's really what this card represents. So for those of you that selected the green sea glass this week, watch for some significant changes happening. Those may be significant changes in your family, but I'm thinking for a lot of people, as we move into 2023, there are going to be changes yet again, similarly, not similarly, but kind of the way that there was some changes at the beginning of 2020. And I'm not saying that the changes are going to be quite as drastic, but changes in the way that we work and the way that we interact, I think that there are going to be changes. And I think that some of those changes definitely involve, for many of us, becoming more a part of our community again. I'm not going to go into more details about that, but anyway, let's look at your shadow energy for this week. Okay, your shadow energy this week is the abundance card. So what that tells me is that as you're going through these changes, as these, lightning bolts are hitting, as the thunder's cracking all around you, you are going to the shadow side of abundance, which is fear and a place of lack. Okay. What this card is telling me is that as you go about your week this week, pay attention to abundance in a way that you believe there is always enough. Because if you're going into that place of fear and lack, this is going to be even more uncomfortable. So yeah, this is your shadow energy this week. You need to come from a place of abundance. Do not be coming from that place of fear or lack. All right, that wraps it up. Let's move on to those who selected the polished black onyx. I will be pulling cards for you this week from the messages from the spirits of nature. Okay. For dominant energy this week. Oh, we have a card that has jumped out. Okay. The Earth and Home card has jumped out for those of you that selected the black onyx this week. This card is telling me two things. One is that you're being called upon to be more grounded. A lot of us at this time of the year, after having visited with family, visited with friends, having been off work for a period of time, we can begin to feel a little bit ungrounded as we are out of our regular routines. This card is sort of calling you home to ground yourself, recenter yourself. This card is a card of comfort and comfort zones. So for those of you that selected this pile or this deck this week, this is a message of grounding yourself and feeling more like you're at home. This is also about not just, grabbing your favorite blanket and crashing out in front of the TV with some snacks, feeling like you're home. But this is also a card of feeling like you're at home psychologically, mentally, emotionally, being comfortable with you. You are your own home, regardless of where you live on the planet, regardless of your housing situation, regardless of any of that, regardless of whether you are visiting family, friends, or relatives somewhere away from your own home. This always goes with you. And if you are uncomfortable with this, then you're going to be uncomfortable no matter where you go in the world, right? So this card this week is not only about getting your favorite blankie and watching some Netflix. This card is about taking a good hard look at the person that is always with you and coming to grips with whether you like that person or not. And if there's any doubt in your mind about who you are, this is a fantastic time of the year to start to recreate that person and really, really love that person and feel at home with the person that you see in the mirror every time you look in the mirror. That's what this card is telling me for this week for you. Okay. For those of you that selected the black onyx, this week is about getting comfortable with yourself and getting comfortable with decisions that you've made. This card too can represent responsibility, taking responsibility for yourself, for where you are at in life right now. Because when we take responsibility for who we are, and there's no one left to blame and no one left to point the finger at, we have to like who we are because we've made our own decisions and put us where we are. Okay. These readings today being the last readings of 2022, are much deeper, far less superficial than what I'm used to doing. And this one's a really, really deep reading for you this week. Get to like the person that you see in the mirror every day on a really deep level. Take responsibility for who that person is and where that person is in life. Okay? Stop blaming. And when you do that, you will come home. You will realize you're home. You will realize that you're really grounded in who you are, and magic happens there. Magic really, really happens there. Let's have a look at your shadow energy. Your shadow energy this week from the bottom of the deck is the Wind card, which represents movement. So what this card is telling me in relation to what I've just said about this card is that there's a lack of movement with regards to you becoming really comfortable with who you are. You want that, but you haven't actually taken the steps towards it just yet. And right now, at this time of the year, as we're heading into a brand new year, a fresh start, a year that is anticipated to be full of changes, you can definitely start taking steps towards liking who you are. Okay. A couple of really, really quick announcements. I should have done these at the beginning of the video, but I didn't. So a couple of really quick announcements. I am still running my year-end special. My year-end special consists of a 13-card read specifically for you. I will pull one card for each month in 2023, as well as an anchor card, which ties the whole reading in together. I'll put a link down in the description so that you can head on over to my website, learn more about the 13-card special. It is a limited time offer. The other announcement is that for the 12 days of Yule, I am doing 12 approximately 1 hour long videos, one for each sign of the zodiac. Predictions for 2023. Yep, that's right. Prediction videos. I'm finally doing them, way outside my comfort zone, but yeah. So keep watching this space, keep watching this channel, watch for your zodiac sign to come up over the next few days. I've already posted the first few, and I'll be posting a video a day until January the 1st to make sure that I cover each of the 12 zodiac signs. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. Take care and Happy New Year.